guys, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you very much for stopping by. My name is Vivian Bernard and I am the content creator of Vivian Bernard Sewing Tutorial. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please kindly do so. Also like my videos, turn on your notification bell for more interesting videos. In this tutorial, we'll be learning how to make these beautiful welt pockets with flap. Okay, so this is flap and this is a welt pocket. You can see how beautiful this is. So this is what you stand to gain, what you stand to learn when you watch to the end. Okay, all right, let's get started. Hello guys, in this tutorial we'll be learning how to make a double welt pocket with flap. Okay, I've actually made this tutorial like 3 months ago, but I found out that some parts of it were muted. Okay, so I decided to redo it again for more clarifications. Okay, so yeah, so this is what I mean by a double welt pocket with flap. Can you see what I'm having here? So this is a flap, then this is the double welt pocket. Okay, so this is the pocket here, you can see. So this is what we want to achieve in this tutorial. Can you see how beautiful this one is? So this is actually what we want to achieve. So I've actually drafted and cut out what we'll be needing, so I will explain it one by one. Okay, so this is the flap. Okay, so it's 6 inches width and the length is 3 inches. Okay, so you have to cut it on fold. Okay, you can see I cut this on fold, so when I open it up I will have 6 inches length. Okay, and the width is 6 inches. So by the time I'm going to turn it and sew it half an inch, I'll be left with 5 inch. Okay, so this 5 inch is supposed to be equal with the pocket mouth. Okay, so if you don't know what a pocket mouth is, this is actually what I mean by a pocket mouth. Can you see that this flap is actually rhyming with the pocket mouth? So that is what I mean. Okay, then what you are going to cut it is, you are going to cut it 2 pieces. Okay, so one for the right side and the other one for the left side. I hope you understand. Yeah, then this is a double welt pocket. Okay, so I cut it 4 pieces, 2 pieces for the right side of the blazer and 2 pieces for the left side of the blazer, and it's actually 7 inches width and 2.5 inches length. Okay, so you can see I've cut it 4 pieces, and I also ironed interfacing on each of the 4 pieces of the double welt pocket. Can you see it's 4 pieces? So I forgot to tell you guys, you also cut interfacing on the flap. Okay, so this is the pocket itself. Okay, so it's 7 inches width and 7 inches length. So but when you are going to cut it, you are going to be cutting it on fold. Okay, you are going to be cutting it on fold in such a way that when you open it, you are going to be having 14 inches length. Okay, but when you cut it on fold, you have 7 inches length and 7 inches width. And one thing I want you to understand also is that the pocket bag should be the same width with the double welt pocket. Okay, so you should go ahead and cut your own like that. Okay, so and you can see that the pocket bag, I use the suit lining to cut it, and you can notice that the double welt pocket and the flap, I use the main material to cut it. Okay, this is because the pocket bag will be hiding and the double welt pocket and the flap will be showing. It's actually the blazer I'm working with. Okay, so I've not joined it side by side. Before I join it side by side, I want to seize this opportunity to show you guys how to put your double welt pocket with flap on your blazer. So I'm going to grab one side of this blazer so that we can start off with that. Okay, so this is one side of my blazer. Okay, so to locate where your double welt pocket with flap is going to be, you are going to mark your waistline and from your waistline you come down by 1 inch. So at that point, that is where your double welt pocket with flap is going to start. So I'm going to locate my waistline, then from that point I'm marking down 1 inch. So I will do that now. So guys, I've located the waist just like I showed you earlier. If you find it difficult locating the waist, just get your side front pattern, measure whatever you have from the armhole line down to your waist. At least you can locate your waist easily on your pattern. So I have 6.375. So I'm just going to come at the side from that point and I will input 6.375. That way you will get your waistline easily. Okay, so from the waistline I came down by 1 inch. Okay, so from this 1 inch, that is where our pocket mount is going to start. Pocket mount is where you are fixing, choking in your hand. Okay, and the standard measurement for a pocket mount is 5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to mark 5 inches, but I'm going to mark it in such a way that this seam line, this line will be a guide. Okay, so I'm going to divide that 5 inch into 2. So I'm going to mark 2.5 on each side of the seam line, okay, to give me the 5 inch. So that way it's going to sit properly. So I have 5 inch here. Okay, I'm going to square it up. So what I'm going to do is to make a box shape, a rectangular shape with 1 inch. Okay, so from this point I'm coming down by 1 inch, and I will also come down by 1 inch on the other point. Then I will use it to create a rectangular shape. Okay, so you can see the rectangle. So what I'm going to further do is to divide this rectangular shape into 2. So I'm going to connect it like so. So you can see what we have. Okay, so this is where our welt pocket is going to sit. So I'm going to put this aside, then I will bring our welt pocket pieces. So this is my welt pocket pieces. This is 2 pieces. So this 2 pieces for one side. Okay, so you can see already that I've marked 1 inch out of this 2.5 inches length. Okay, so I marked 1 inch and I square it up. I marked this on the other side. So what I'm going to do is to fold from that 1 inch. Okay, so I'm basically folding 1 inch so that in such a way that you will have ½ inch remaining. Okay, so when you fold it and iron it, it's going to be like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to go to my sewing machine and sew 3.75 out of this 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to sew 3.75 out of this 1 inch. I'm also going to sew 3.75 out of this 1 inch. Okay, then for the flap, what I'm going to do is to fold it like this. I'll go to my sewing machine and sew in ½ inch. Then I'll turn it and give it a good press. Then I will be back to show you guys what next. So guys, I've gone ahead to sew this just like I told you. So out of that 1 inch I sewed 3/8. Okay, and I'm left with this. Okay, and this is the second one. Okay, and this is the flap. You can see how I sewed it and turn it. So after sewing it and turning in, I'm left with 5 inch, which will match with this 5 inch pocket mount. Can you see the technique? Okay, so what I did was to notch the center of this ½ inch that is remaining from what I sewed. Can you see it? Can you see properly what I'm showing you? So I'm just going to grab this piece. Okay, the center I notched, I'm just going to mash it up like this on the seam line, because this seam line is serving as the center of the pocket mount. So I'm just going to grab this. You can see what I'm grabbing, this, okay. I'm going to mash it up on the seam line like this, okay. You can see how I pin it down on one half of the pocket mount. I'm going to grab this other second double welt pocket, okay. I'm going to mash it up on the other half like this, okay. So I'm going to pin it down. So as I pin it down, you notice that the 5-inch pocket mount I marked, this has closed it, okay. So I'm just going to remark it again, 2.5 on each side, okay. So you can see that I have remarked the line, okay. You see how I pinned it, you can see. So kindly pin your own that way. So I'll go to my sewing machine and I will sew at this edge, okay. So I'm going to sew very close, but not on top of this, okay, not on top of this I sewed, this 3.75 inch that I sewed. So I'm going to sew it very close. I will sew the other one very close, and I will also sew this line, so it's going to be rectangle sewing, okay. I'll do it and I will come back to show you guys what next. So guys, I have sewn this just like I showed you guys. So when you turn the back, you will see a rectangular shape, okay. So you can see the rectangular shape very clearly at the back. So the next thing we are going to do is to cut it open, but before that you are going to mark 1/2 inch from this point inward, and you are going to make a diagonal line, okay. You are going to make a diagonal line. So you also come to this point, you come out by 1/2 inch and you are going to make a diagonal line. So after that you are going to cut it open, okay. So I'm just going to hold it from the center like this, then I'm going to slightly cut it, okay, just slightly, so that you won't spoil your work, okay. So it's now slightly open. I'm just going to cut it. When I get to this 1/2 inch, I'm going to follow this diagonal line and also follow this diagonal line. So I'm going to cut, but I'm not going to cut through this line. I'm just going to stop at the very close to it, okay. So watch what I'm doing. So when I get to this point, I'm going to follow this diagonal line and I will stop very close, okay. And I will also cut this. I will stop very close, okay. So I have cut it open. So I'm going to stop very close to the line, but I'm not cutting through the line, okay. So once you cut it, the next thing you are going to do is to flip it inside out. So you are going to flip it inside, okay. So once you do it very well, it's going to relax, okay. So you can see mine is relaxing already, okay. So I'm just going to go and give it a good press, okay. Then I'll be back to show us what next. So after giving it a good press, this is how beautiful it's looking already. Are you first? When you flip it inside out like this, and after you give it a good press, before you put in your flap, you are going to go and hold it here, okay. Can you see this diagonal stuff? Can you see this diagonal stuff here? So you are just going to go to your sewing machine and top stitch. The essence is just to hold this double welt pocket so that it can stay, okay, so that it won't be moving around. So I'm just going to go to my sewing machine, then I'll go and sew it straight like this, okay. That way I will secure this double welt pocket in place. So I will do it on the other side before I fix my flap, okay. So we are going to attach our flap to make it a double welt pocket weight flap. So this is how you are going to fix it. We are going to fix it inside. Okay, you see the reason why I told you guys that the flap is going to be the same with the pocket mouth so that it can fit. Can you see how well it fits? So once you fix it, you make sure that you have at least 2 inches from this point. You can see where I measured it, 2 inches. Okay, so you fix it and make sure it's 2 inches, and you pin it down just like I did on my own. So you are going to flip it over like this. Okay, you can see the flap and you can see our welt pieces here. So you are just going to go to your sewing machine and top stitch to hold it together. Okay, can you see what I'm holding? I'm holding the flap and the welt pieces. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine and top stitch on both of them to hold it together as one. So guys, I have gone to my sewing machine and I've sewn it. Okay, so this is it. I've held it together. This is how it is here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to fix the pocket. So this is the pocket we cut earlier. So I'm just going to grab one part of the pocket and fix it. Okay, I'm going to pin it down from this point. Once I pin it down from this point, I'm going to grab the other end. Then you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to pin it down here. Okay, like this. I'm going to pin it down. So you can see what I pinned down. Can you see how it is? So I'm going to go and sew it down here. I will sew it down here. I will be back. So I've sewn it, and can you see how it is? Okay, I've sewn it here and I've also sewn it here. So I'm just going to flip it like this. Can you see how it's relaxing? So this way it's relaxing. I'm going to pin it down and I will sew it down. Okay, look at what I'm sewing. I'm sewing it down. So I'm also going to grab this like this, just the way it's relaxing. I'm going to sew it down. So guys, after fixing in the pockets, can you see how I sew it straight? So it should be relaxed. Okay, can you see how I sewed it? So you pin it down just like I did and you sew it. Okay, so can you see how beautiful our welt pocket is looking? Our double welt pocket is looking. You can now fix in your hand. You can now put something, anything at all. So if you don't understand anything in this tutorial, drop your questions on the comment section. I will attend to that. And this brings us to the end of this tutorial. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, please kindly do so. This will really mean a lot to me. Okay, thank you guys. Bye. I will see you in the next one.